Prisons have been in use for a long time, but using them as a form of punishment is a newer concept. Prisons and jails were used mostly just to hold people as they awaited trial or sentencing. The punishments were more along the lines of whipping, mutilation, dishonoring in public, capital punishment, as well as exile and even enslavement. But then in England around the 17th century, convictions for petty crimes soared, and juries became reluctant to hand down harsh sentences, and so more people were being sent to jails. And by the late 18th century, industrial revolutions and Napoleonic wars increased the number of prisoners in England. Even empty ships were used as holding pens. And conditions there were horrible. Something drastic had to be done. One option was the transportation of a large number of prisoners to America and Australia. But that didn't help things for those remaining in England. Meet John Howard. After spending just 6 days in a French prison in 1765, he came out as a strong advocate for those behind bars, and in 1777 he wrote a book full of suggested reforms in order to make conditions better. Other contributions came from English philosopher Jeremy Bentham in 1791. He designed a prison with a watchtower where guards could monitor prisoners without them knowing. And their reforms helped turn the simple punishment of prison into a deterrent, rehabilitation, and correction system, taking place of physical and corporal punishments. Other European nations were inspired and made their own changes. This led to less corporal punishment and the death sentence slowly dying. Thus, long-term incarceration boomed in the 1900s. But is that really the best way to deal with criminals? The United States uses long-term incarceration as its main deterrent and punishment for criminal offenders, and it has the highest number of inmates per capita. Compare that to some European countries and the numbers are shocking. Why are the rates so different? Well, the US system is still stuck on using prison as punishment and keeps inmates behind bars way longer than many other Western countries. The US is stricter, has mandatory sentences for many crimes, and separates their inmates from the outside world. It's this isolation that leads to a higher rate of people going back to prison. In fact, a recent study found that criminals who were put in prison were much more likely to reoffend and end up in prison again, as opposed to people who were given probation or never went to prison in the first place. Relaxing drug laws and extending electronic ankle monitoring systems have helped keep offenders out of jail in many European countries. So, is prison still the answer for crime? Or should we try something else?